Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Riley playing with Kukuki here again in the video, and this is going to be my first ever album review. This is going to be Sabaton, The Last Stand. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Sabaton, basically they're a band that writes about historical events in the military world, battles and soldiers and various stuff like that in the realm of military history. Now, if you have heard of them before and you didn't like them because you wanted more of a power metal feel, they definitely enforced in this album, because with Corollas Rex, they tried to add more of a power metal feel in Heroes, which was their last album prior to this one. They definitely went for a more power metal feel, but with this one, they definitely enforced it. Don't get me wrong, there's still a very heavy metal feel to this one, but for the most part, this is very power metal orientated. Now, this is a concept album, as you could probably tell by the title there, The Last Stand. This is about last stands and defensive battles throughout history, where small amounts of soldiers held off against all odds and either fought to their death, knowing that they were going to die, or they managed to fend off their enemy. And this album is absolutely amazing. Look at that album cover. That is just amazing box art. Just look. You have the American soldier, you have these soldiers off to the sides with their rifles, you have these Spartans on the flanks, the winged hussar on horseback with a flag, and the samurai getting ready to strike with his katana. It's just absolutely amazing. There's just smoke, rubble, barbed wire flames. It's just absolutely amazing. And if you guys are familiar with the previous Sabaton album, Heroes, this art was actually done by the same guy, and you could tell because the overall art style is very similar, and the idea of the cover is similar. How it's just balls out and just absolutely amazing. Now let's just jump right into the album. I think I've already done enough with this introduction. The album starts off with a song called Sparta, and it's just absolutely amazing. This is about the Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans and around 7,000 other Greeks held the Persian Empire at the Hot Gates for 3 days before they were eventually undone. And this song is absolutely fantastic. It has a very slow but fantastic beginning. It's just an amazing theatric sound to it. And I don't know if this makes any sense, but it sounds very Greek, which makes sense. It has a very strong, heroic sound to it, especially in the guitar solo. Absolutely fantastic. It's just very heroic sounding. That's all I can say. Just absolutely amazing. Strong guitar, just very theatric and powerful sound to it. It's just absolutely amazing. Such a strong way to start off your album with such an amazing story, such as the Battle of Thermopylae. It's just absolutely fantastic. They really nailed it with this one. If you like, I remember when I first heard this, I was just like, I know I'm listening to Sabaton, but is this really them? This sounds so bizarre. Absolutely fantastic. All I could say is theatric, heavy, heroic. This song is absolutely amazing. They really did the 300 Spartans and the other Greeks justice with this masterpiece. The next one is Last Dying Breath. This is about the Battle of Belgrade, and it's also about, sorry if I butchered his name, Dragutin Gavrilovic, I believe. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic song. This song really just starts off heavy, grabs you by the balls, and just throws you into combat. Very, very heavy. This is probably the second heaviest song on the album, I'd say. I'll get to the other one later. But the guitar solo on this one is really amazing. It's when the solo starts, it's still strong, but then it kind of calms down, kind of gives you a break from all the intensity, so to speak, lets you relax. And then as the guitar solo wraps up, it throws you right back into intensity. It's absolutely amazing. Now, some of the lyrics in this song are actually a speech done by Dragutin whenever he was inspiring his soldiers to defend Belgrade, and it's just absolutely amazing how they were able to implement that. I mean, Sabaton's always been accurate with their dates and quotes and all that stuff that they use in their song. This is just an amazing song. I'm sure if you're Serbian, you're from Serbia, whatever, you will enjoy the song because it's just absolutely amazing. And I'm sure it'll bring out the patriotism in you, or patriot in you. The next song was very interesting. It's actually the second single that they released off the album. It's called Blood of Bannockburn. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really amazing. It uses a Hammond organ and bagpipes, and it was pretty interesting. I was like, wow, this is new, strange, but I was open-minded about it, and it was absolutely amazing. With this, they kind of went for a folk metal sound, I would imagine. It works out very well. It's very upbeat, it's about the Battle of Bannockburn, the Scots fighting for independence, or it was the Scottish Revolution, like 9 years after William Wallace had died or was executed. So Robert the Bruce, held off a English force that was like 2 times their size, and it's just very positive. Freedom must be won by blood. It's just absolutely amazing, very upbeat, and you know, you got to be open-minded when you come across a song that's this different as opposed to the other Sabaton songs. I mean, the organ and the bagpipes just make it absolutely amazing. Very positive sounding song, and the guitar solo just absolutely fantastic. Very strong, sharp sound to it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Goes well with the other instruments. Just absolutely fantastic. I was obsessed with this song when it first came out. It was just absolutely amazing, very unique. Just has a very strong Scottish vibe to it. It's just absolutely amazing. The next one is Diary of an Unknown Soldier, and it's just absolutely a good intro to the next real song, because this one is basically just an intro to the Last Battalion, and it gets you familiar with some of the sounds that you're going to hear in the Last Battalion, because the interesting thing about that song is that it actually uses as a kick drum. The kick drum is actually a 50 caliber machine gun. The snare drum is actually a 9mm handgun, and the hi-hat is actually a bayonet, a bayonet shanking. So pretty interesting sounds. And the Lost Battalion is actually about the Argonne Offensive during World War One, and basically Liberty Division, which was a battalion of American soldiers in 1918, they became lost in the Argonne Forest, and they actually held off for 5 days against the German army, which surrounded them, and their own artillery cells were also hitting them. So this is a song that has a very sad sound to it. It's like desperation, fighting against all odds, but at the same time, it's like inspiring. Like, we need to keep pushing on. Yes, it is a very miserable situation, but we need to fight through it. And it's absolutely amazing. At some parts, it reminds me of the song "Hearts of Iron," and I say it because, like, in the song "Hearts of Iron," there's the lyrics "holding the ground to the final platoon," and it kind of sounds like with this song, "broke through the blockade, they were finally saved." And I was just like, okay, so they borrowed a little bit from Heroes, and I really like this. Very good song to choose to be your first single. And I'm not too sure if you can hear my dog, but yeah, this is the second time that thing has interrupted me, so yeah. Fantastic way to. I remember being obsessed with this song. It's just absolutely amazing. The first single is absolutely fantastic. It's just very good mix between desperation, inspirational, power of will to keep fighting until what was left of your group managed to make it. The next song, pretty interesting. I didn't know anything much about this battle. It's Rorke's Drift, which is about the Battle of Rorke's Drift. The introduction kind of reminds me of Resist and Bite, and a lot of the song actually reminds me of Into the Fire. And overall, the song has a very tribal sound to it, which makes sense. This is about the 150 British colonial troops fighting against, I believe it was anywhere from it was 5 to 6 or 4 to 5 thousand Zulu warriors at Rorke's Drift. This song, kind of like Last Dying Breath, kind of pulls you into the battle right away. Like, okay, we tried to negotiate with the Zulus, did not work out. Shit's going down. Now this is the situation that we're in. We tried to talk it out, but now we have to fight back against all odds. Very tribal sound to it. I wish I can explain how that works, but it's just very fast. The dead are stacked. Just absolutely intense song, and quite frankly, it's quite amazing. The guitar solo. Actually, I should talk about the guitar solo for Lost Battalion. It is absolutely amazing. Again, very high-pitched, sharp sound to it. Continues the desperate and inspirational feel of the song, but with the Rorke's Drift, with that guitar solo, it's also really amazing. Kind of just keeps the intensity going for the most part and lets you know that the battle is still raging on, and you must keep fighting. There's no surrender. With The Last Stand, I was anticipating this song along with a lot of other Sabaton fans, because this is a song that Nuclear Blast Records kept promoting at the end of the singles. Um, had an amazing chorus, let's just say that. It has a very mysterious but, you know, intense beginning. Was talking about the seat of power is in danger. Very pro-Christian song, and it's about the last stand of the Swiss Guard, where a handful of the Swiss Guard held off against Spanish mercenaries during the sacking of Rome. Absolutely amazing chorus, and of course at the very end is very powerful, the part that they used to advertise it. Amazing song. The solo, again, is very faithful sounding solo. Like, you could tell that it was like God was playing it, playing the guitar. It's just very, very powerful and amazing. Overall, the song did not disappoint me in my opinion. It was absolutely fantastic. Next up is, in my opinion, the heaviest song. I remember I said last Dying Breath was the second heaviest. This one's the first heaviest. Hill 3234. And this song actually reminds me of a lot of songs. It reminds me of Counter-Strike, Rermat, and Talvisota. This is about 39 Soviet soldiers during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan who became trapped on a mountain and held off against, I believe it was 250 Mujahideen rebels. And it's just absolutely heavy, very fast and intense guitar solo, but for the most part, amazing chorus. Is just heavy. We're just talking about shoot to kill, push the warriors back down the mountain, and making your bullets count. Just absolutely amazing. You could tell that there's a sound of desperation, but for the most part, it's about overcoming all odds. Even though you're trapped on this mountain, you need to push back, and how you came down from the sky into the fire. It's just absolutely amazing. Next up is the third single, and this one, I don't know if it's a tie or if this is my official opinion, but I believe that Shiroyama, the third single, might possibly be my favorite song off the album. If not, it is certainly tied with whatever I think is the second one. This one's absolutely amazing. It's about the Battle of Shiroyama, where 500 samurai made their last stand against the Japanese Imperial Army. Very, very intense song. The beginning reminded me of Midway, and believe me, this is a very bittersweet song, because, you know, it's, for the most part, I thought it was just going to be an awesome song about the samurai, but for the most part, it's talking about how the old ways must give in and how the new ways come in sin. But, so it's like, okay, so this is going to be like, with time, you have to give up the old ways, and how technology and industrialization is just going to triumph, you know, culture. But for the most part, it talks about how history has said that the old ways go out in the blaze. So it's like, yes, you need to accept the fact that your culture cannot beat, you know, guns and cannons and all that stuff, and how the sword isn't very convenient against, you know, guns. But for the most part, if you're going to go out, you go out in a blaze, and you prove that Bushido is stronger than any gun. So it is very bittersweet. You know, it's sad that the culture is dying, but at the same time, you show them what your culture is. And the guitar actually kind of remind me of Ghost Division at some points. Very powerful. And even the chorus, kind of, I don't know how I'll explain it. Chorus kind of has a sound of Ghost Division. It's just, this song is absolutely fantastic. If it was just about, you know, how badass the samurai is, I don't think it would be as effective as if they had mentioned, you know, the end of ancient culture, how they always must give in. It was just amazing how they, like, said you need to, you know, not give up, but how you need to accept the fact that industrialization is going to take over your culture, but at the same time, you go out in a blaze. It's just absolutely amazing. Next up is Winged Hussars. Absolutely fantastic. This song is amazing. Now, originally before this, I did not even know what a Winged Hussar was, believe it or not. And it wasn't until I made the news video about this album coming out that people were like, what did you just call that guy on the horseback? That's called a Winged Hussar. I was like, what? So I looked them up, and I was like, oh my god, how did I disrespect these guys? But Winged Hussars is about the Battle of Vienna, where the Ottoman Empire was essentially going to destroy the town, and the men who were defending it were wounded, and how they stood no chance against the siege, which went on for 60 days. But then the Winged Hussars, which were the elite of the Polish-Lithuanian cavalry, came by and destroyed the empire. use cannon fire, death from above to crush them. This song is absolutely amazing. It sounds a lot like The Art of War, based on the keyboard, and how it's a slow but powerful song about crushing your enemies. Absolutely amazing. The guitar solo, very nice. It reminds me of Last Dying Breath because it kind of calms you down, but it's nice, angelic sounding guitar solo, and it just really just sounds amazing. Which reminds me, I don't even think I talked about Shiro Yama's guitar solo. Shiro Yama's guitar solo, at first I was like, okay, this kind of sounds a little cheesy, kind of like it's just keeping the song going. But after giving it a few more listens, it keeps the flow going while getting you ready for the final chorus, and it's just amazing. I really love Shiro Yama's guitar solo. It's one of the best off the albums. But back to Wing Two Stars' guitar solo, it's quite amazing. I really liked it. I knew I was gonna like this song because they kept advertising it on Sabaton's YouTube page. Like, they would like advertise pieces of it and then put it together. It's just absolutely amazing. The next song is the last original song. It's The Last Battle, and I honestly didn't know about this battle at first. It's about the battle for Castle Itter. Pretty interesting story. It's about around 10 American soldiers and 10 Wehrmacht soldiers and a couple other people who held off the Waffen-SS who were attacking and trying to take over Castle Itter, and how the soldiers there united together, the Americans and the Germans joining together at last to fight against a common foe, the real bad guys, the Waffen-SS, and how the French prisoners there also helped out. And it's just a song about unity. I really liked it because it had a strong 80s sound to it. The keyboard and the guitar had a very strong intro. I was like, oh, I like this. It sounds really 80s. But yeah, it's a song about unity, and the guitar solo is absolutely amazing. And this song also has a throw you into the battle type of sound whenever it's like, there's no time to waste, the final battle has begun, ammo's running low, they're depleting their machine guns. Just really, really amazing how it's like, okay guys, it's time to fight, it's time to set our differences aside. Germans and Americans fighting the final battle against evil. It's just absolutely amazing. And I just love the 80s sound to it. It's just very, very inspirational. Then after that you have Camouflage, which is a cover of Stan Ridgway's original song, Camouflage. And Sabaton does change a few lyrics here and there, but for the most part they really took that country sounding song and made it heavy, and it's just really, really amazing. I really liked it. Joachim's voice is just absolutely amazing. Just very, very amazing. They took an already legendary song and just made it heavy and amazing. And then you have All Guns Blazing, which was done by the legendary Judas Priest. And I don't want to cause any controversy by saying, oh, it's better than the original or the original is better, but let's just say Sabaton does the song justice. To be honest, All Guns Blazing isn't one of my favorite Judas Priest songs, in my own opinion. It's probably one of the lesser known songs, I think, unless you guys disagree, but for the most part they do a pretty good job. Now that's it for the original copy of the album, but of course if you got the earbook edition, you could listen to Afraid to Shoot Strangers. Yes, Sabaton does a cover of the legendary Iron Maiden song Afraid to Shoot Strangers, and again, they do the song justice. In my opinion, it sounds rougher and more powerful than the original, but it's really a matter of opinion. You might like the Iron Maiden version, or you might like Sabaton's version because it just sounds more power metal-y, but for the most part, it's a good cover. Now, not many people know this, but in Japan, or if you get the Japanese version of the album, you can listen to the song Burn in Hell by Twisted Sister, and I listened to it. I managed to listen to it. And for the most part, they do the song justice. That's all I can really say. Sabaton puts their own spin on the album, and it sounds pretty damn good. So, yeah, I don't know what this was a really good review. My first time doing a album review, but for the most part, I'm going to do more of these. But, yeah, I really, really, really recommend Sabaton The Last Stand. If you've never heard this band before, listen to this, and if you don't like it, maybe give some of the previous albums more of your time. If you don't like power metal and you just like heavy metal, I'll recommend some of the earlier albums, Primo Victoria and stuff like that. Really, really amazing album. For anybody who's just like, oh well, I don't know if I really like the direction that Sabaton's going in. Yes, they do experiment like with Blood of Bannockburn. They did try to go for more of a folk metal sound, and with Shiroyama, it does have that Japanese sound to it, and they really tried to do their best to put their own spin on each song. But that's creativity. I mean, some people would argue that the previous songs or from the previous albums all sound similar, and that's a lot of controversy or most controversial thing said about this album, as some people are like, oh, Sabaton just sounds the same. And then the other half is saying, well, Sabaton's, they're straying too far from their roots. I miss the old Sabaton. And keep in mind, those are two different types of people who dislike the new album. And there are already a minority of people who dislike this album. The rest of the people, the fans, appreciate what Sabaton is doing. If you like the older sound of the Sabaton albums, they are still making those types of songs, Last Dying Breath and Hill 3234. But they are going to experiment with stuff like Diary of an Unknown Soldier and stuff like Rourke's Drift. And of course, they are going to, make stuff that sounds make songs that sound similar to recent albums like Heroes, like with The Lost Battalion. So for the most part, do I recommend this album? You bet your ass I do. It is absolutely amazing. If you're an old fan who thinks they're straying too far from the roots, stick around. They still make old songs like that. If you think they need to evolve, stick around, because they are experimenting, and it's just amazing to see the direction that Sabaton is going. And it's really nice to see that they're gaining popularity. I know I discovered them after they had released Heroes. I didn't listen to Heroes as my first album, actually. I was just listening to Dragon Force one day, and then I was just like, what is this? Sabaton? Prima Victoria? And then I got hooked from there. So, for the most part, I like to see that they're gaining popularity. It's just absolutely amazing. They gained a lot of popularity at Heroes, and then with The Last Stand, they're just growing and growing. I like to see what the next album is going to be about. Hell, just seeing the album cover for that one will be amazing, but I like to see the direction that the concept is going to go in. So enough rambling, though. This has been Riley the Flame Wookie Cookie. I'll catch you guys next time.